first off, can you just tell me a little bit about your experience of retroactive jealousy and where you were at with retroactive jealousy before investing in my course?
My first experience about 20 years ago, I think, with something I found out in a current relationship. And to be fair, initially, the actual problems it caused, I didn't recognize it at all. Probably dealt with it in the wrong way. I just sort of let it go for many, many years. But I think in latter years, I realized that it was still a problem. And I actually got some help for it from a counselor, if you like, some mental health help. But the thing is, you don't really solve it as such. You can find things out about yourself, but you don't really fix it. And I found a video of, I think it was almost like a radio show about retroactive jealousy, which I'd never heard of before. The person in the video mentioned the course by yourself. And so I pursued that, and I thought I'll have a look at it. And that it just went from there, really, just to try and see if it would work.
And tell me about how retroactive jealousy would generally manifest for you. I mean, did you get like the intrusive thoughts, the curiosity, the mental movies? What was your experience like?
Yeah, the mental movies playing on and on and on. It destroyed me, to be quite honest. I just couldn't get things out of my head. I couldn't focus. It was almost like, you couldn't sleep. You just had no one to turn to. I never spoke to anyone about it. Unfortunately, you get involved in drink, etc. It was a real anxiety, depression. It was a horrible, horrible thing. But it was funny because I found, probably about 6 months later, especially when it first happened, it was almost like an acceptance, and I moved on, and I was able to move on for a couple of years. But I found then later on in life that there were unfortunately some triggers that just came about, and I'd slip up again. But again, I'd go into this sort of awful period where, you'd be drinking, you'd be causing people a lot of problems, and especially causing my partner a lot of problems. And it's a really horrible thing. It generally just sent me personally into like a real downward spiral. And you just couldn't get out of it. You just cannot get things out of your head. It's a horrible thing.
Absolutely. Yeah. Were you ever afraid that you could lose your relationship as a result of retroactive jealousy?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think probably from my point of view, pushing my partner into a position where, she's just, I can't take this anymore. And also, I felt maybe I was better off, on my own or something. What sort of kept me going was the fact that I felt, I can't lose this over something that's going on in my head. That was my sort of drive, if you like, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Yeah. How would you compare your feelings now to before you found my course?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say night and day almost. Discovering like the term retroactive jealousy was a game changer for me. I honestly probably believed that there was no one else out there like me, and probably never really believed that I could get help for it. What I found is, for me personally, I didn't sort of run through the course quickly and then think that was it. I sort of, challenged things, I replayed things, or some of the mindfulness things I found quite interesting, because that's something I've struggled with before. There was, some points of the course anyway that sort of struck me as if like I never thought of that before, or I never thought that way before, and that I thought really helped, because the problem is the way I think about things has been the problem, because it is all in my head. And triggers in worse states, I'd be in a hell of a state for weeks, I'll be honest, and even when I got control of things, I could get it down to days or maybe hours. But since doing the course, I can, I struggle now to think of these things for even minutes. But I wasn't able to do that before I did the course,
That's great to hear. So someone is watching this video or listening to this right now who's really struggling with retroactive jealousy. What would you tell someone who's struggling with retroactive jealousy, who's on the fence about investing in my course?
Yeah, I would say, if you're committed and you're ready to believe in it, take the course without a doubt. I think it's probably the best thing that ever happened to me, I'll be honest. And I think, certainly give it a chance and stay in the fight, so to speak. as you get into it, even a few of the sessions, etc., you do think, is this going to work? Is this going to work? But you have to believe, and you have to stay in it. You have to complete it, and if necessary, do bits of it again. But for me personally, it does work, and it really has changed my life. If you think of, being sort of in a state of retroactive jealousy where you're in a very low position, I mean, this really gets you out of a hole. And it's just, if you're willing to fight for control of your mind, I think this is the course for retroactive jealousy sufferers, without a doubt.